CFG Game Cast, episode number 181, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers alike to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode every week and release it on podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, and so much more. So show us some love, give us a follow, a like, a comment, what have you on any podcast services, or go to our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, to not miss an episode. I am Mr. CFG Games himself, Davis Green, and with me today are my two awesome co-hosts. I got Lex in the second seat. What is going on, my cyborg?
Well, I had a cyborg week. I had to cancel a few streams because I was not feeling well. I've had a lot of sinus pressure, and I just chalked it up to the weather's getting hotter. That's normal for me. Blah blah blah. And then I had a real bad spinal leak. And so I was playing games with literal tissues in my nose, like a goofball. But I did get down on some of the Tartarus Key, which we're going to talk about. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I had a blast, so much so that I blinked and it was like 4 a.m. I'm like, maybe I should stop. Yeah, I apparently I have some sort of like cold thing. So I'm getting over that. I'm not excited about it. I don't want to be here. And I wish it would go away. But yeah, my week was boring. I caught up on laundry. Woohoo.
So, hey, at least everyone once in a while you have that kind of week, It's just like all when the crap hits the fan all at the same time. So, it's all in due time. It's always all in due time.
Opie would like me to tell you all that she enjoyed the fireworks. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a blast. I did do a lot. I lied. I did do a lot. I fixed my dad's car. I got Dust to be able to move his car to Gmos until I can fix it. Worked on my car a little bit. So all 3 cars are running in some capacity. So because the HOA finally threatened to tow my dad's car, I'm like, I can't get it registered.
Why are they not able to, are the plates are expired or
the
something?
Registration is expired as of December. And I'd let them know, like, hey, I'm still in probate. I can sell his car, but I can't register it in my name yet. I could try, but it's 50-50 that they'll accept it. So I'm trying to wait till the end of probate. If you guys can be lenient with me, that'd be great. And they finally put a sticker on the car saying it was going to get towed within 24 hours. I was like, dang it. And the battery had gone out on it. So I had to go get a new one. That battery for his Buick is like $260. I was like, dang, man. And it's 52 pounds and I'm short. I have burn marks on my stomach and my thighs from leaning into the engine. But Dust had to like manhandle it for me because I'm too little. But we got it working. So I did it. I did the thing. It was 125 under the hood. My phone was like, girl, I know you need this flashlight, but you need to put me inside now. I was like, oh, okay. I forgot phones will warn you, like, hey, it's so hot, I'm going to explode. And I was like, oh, that's justified. So I had to put my phone in the house. But Dust was like, we don't have the right tools for this. I was like, hold my Red Bull. And I was able to MacGyver it out. So
oh, okay.
Don't tell me I can't do something because I'll figure it out every time.
Okay. we will not. Jesus.
Tell me what I can't do.
He was like, we don't have the tools for this. I was like, says you.
All right. Hey, but Lex.
Yeah.
You know who has an insane week that I don't think that we could beat? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was the 5-star general of the itty bitty Smitty committee. I got Smitty in the third seat. What's going on, my dude?
Oh, I've had better days, but I'm here. I'm alive. It was crazy. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, so last week, if you guys follow or watch or anything like that, I wasn't feeling well on Friday. We had the Marvel Snap tournament, which again, thank you so much for everybody that participated. It was a lot of fun. I know I didn't get a lot of back end stuff, and there's things I definitely want to clean up, but overall, I thought it was a solid tournament. People people walked away with prizes. We had a blast. We raised, some great money for charity as well. We raised about $380 for the Trevor Project. Again, so overall it was fantastic, but I wasn't feeling well, and I didn't think it was a big deal. Then I got till about a little bit after, it was after the 4th of July. I was still feeling crummy, and it's like, all right, man, maybe I need to get a doctor or go to the doctor or something. And it turns out that I ended up needing a procedure. I had an abscess. I have some intestinal things and stuff like that can be problematic at times, and I ended up getting an abscess. And obviously I had to have surgery, not obviously, but I had to have surgery on that abscess. So I went in. I was in the hospital from Wednesday, and I got out this past Friday. So I am feeling way better than I was last week. I'm still obviously slow moving, and stuff like that, but we got it taken care of. The medical emergency has been taken care of, and I'm back home now. So it was insane. I didn't even, and it makes sense now why I randomly woke up Friday with a temperature out of nowhere, and all that stuff. So again, make sure that those as you get older too, just make sure that you're eating right, that you're getting that physical exercise in and stuff like that, because weird dumb things like that happen that end up incapacitating you for even longer, and just the pain alone and stuff.
And
but
trust your body.
I am feeling 10 times better. Needless to say, I didn't get a lot of gaming in. I did play a little bit of Marvel Snap, which I'm back in the 60s already. Because I ended at 83, I think.
Nice.
For the last season. So I was so close to like, I can taste infinite over there. So I know there's still a long way to go from the 80s to 100. But it felt pretty good. And I've got a new deck that I've been playing with, and it does some stomping. Overall it was good though. It was good. I'm here, I'm able to be here and it not be too difficult. So I'm just excited to get back to getting things back to normal. The girls leave next week, so I'm basically solo dolo for the next couple of weeks here. So a lot of just chilling and playing games, man. And I've been getting a lot of Final Fantasy 16 in. I'm really enjoying the story there. Overall, it was a crazy week, but we're here. I made it, and we're still kicking, baby.
What does your shirt say?
Oh, my shirt, it says I make cute babies.
I was like,
my daughter's got it.
That's so cute.
That's funny. I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, saying, like you're making what babies? It's like make babies. I was just wondering.
Yeah. No. What about you though? How was your week, brother?
Oh man, I've been doing pretty good. I've been really busy with everything. But like I will say, I had a 3-day weekend because I had to work on the 4th of July. But during that 3 days off, like I'd just been nonstop playing some Final Fantasy 16. Because I've been wanting to finish this game as soon as possible and start on the new game plus. And I have to say, it's like the story, man. It is addicting, and it's very, very good when it comes to that. But I need to kind of slow down because I need to actually start getting ready for Evo, and start practicing again on Street Fighter and on Marvel Cap 3 and stuff. But it's just like I just need to finish this up. I was like, I'm saying to myself, I got one more week. I'll finish this. I'll finish the game up this week, and then I'll start playing seriously on the other fighters. So, but I've been doing that, getting set up for that, and getting ready for my trip to Vegas. And stuff. So, but for the most part, it was a very fun, very short-filled week for me. But I'm just glad that you're out of the hospital. That was the one thing, because the thing that scared me the most, because like I was saying earlier, was that so I was just texting Smitty because I've been playing Marvel Snap 2. And then the new card came this week. Last week it was a Phoenix Force or something, and I'm messing around with it. And then I just wanted to tell him, I texted him, and I'm like, "Hey, Smitty, Phoenix Force is a freaking great card. Like, there's a lot of good stuff out of it, and I'm surprised how good it is. Then I don't hear from him for like an hour, and then he comes and replies back, and he's like, I'm going to the ER. They found an abscess on my colon, and I'm like, what? It's like, where the hell did that come from? So I'm kind of freaking out, like, what the hell happened? It's like, what, like, within this past hour. So no, I'm just glad everything's good. You're good, and that you're able to do it. I was just assuming you were going to be out. I didn't even think you were going to be at the podcast today.
I got a similar text.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
do I take this opportunity? Nah, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. I had texted him about the TikTok notification that we'd gotten, and I hadn't gotten a reply in like 24 hours. And then I got no clue. Also, I'm going to the ER. And so I was like, oh, he needs me to watch the kids, is like what I thought. And he was like, no, like, we're good. And Dustin and I were both like, well, if Kat needs a break, like, we're happy to watch them.
Yeah, you were like ridiculously lax for the the vibe I was getting from the message you were giving me didn't seem like it was matching very well, because you seemed very lax when you were replying back.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, here we go.
I'm like, dude, that's a chance for you to get sepsis. That stuff is not. That stuff is serious, man. Like, I was just like, holy crap, dude. I hope they caught it early. Yeah, but then you message it when you get to your hospital bed. You have your tongue sticking out. And I'm like, this is clearly Smitty.
That was
surgery. Yeah. I'm like,
yep.
I was like, I'm back, baby.
I know, right? It's like, man, it's crazy. No, but I'm glad everything worked out. So that's good.
Thank you.
This guy.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I know we don't want to be talking about Smitty's procedures, so we'll just go through the normal rigmarole that we like to do each and every week. So each of us chooses a topic or discussion of the world in the world of video games, itself. The topic would or could be a game itself or something that happened in the gaming industry, and we don't want to talk about it amongst ourselves. We want you, the listeners, on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok, so many other spots here, for you to be a part of the conversation. So if you're wanting to type in or chime in on whatever we're talking about, by all means, type it inside the chat. We would love to discuss it with you live on the podcast. So let's get this party started. Lex, you are up. What are you bringing to the table?
Well, it's interesting. So if you guys don't remember, I went on vacation in May for about a week. And right before I left, I got an email for the Outlast trials for a copy of the game. And I saw another email and I thought, another game? Did they accidentally send it to me twice? But then I realized it's from another publisher. And it was a game called the Tartarus Key. And the way they described it in the email, they were saying there's an embargo on it. Like, we'd love for you to play it. If you want to stream it, please stream it after this time. An embargo essentially means like you can't really talk about it. You can't really stream it. But we would like you to review it, is more or less what they're asking. In so many words. They didn't say that, but they basically were like, here's a game for free. And I thought, oh, it's probably just the demo. No, it was the whole game. And this week, because of, the fireworks, it was bleeding through my mic real bad because they were loud. They were right behind my house. So I couldn't really play much on Tuesday or Wednesday because it was still really loud. But Thursday, I started really late because I had to do some running around. And my spooky crew at that point were probably sleeping at that point because a lot of them are in Canada. And so I thought, you know what? Now's the perfect time. Let's dig in. When I tell you, first off, here are my notes from the game. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages worth of notes. This one has a hole in it. Please ignore.
That is not a hole. That is a gash.
Yeah. When I tell you, I was doing math. I was doing equations. It's so good. So it's considered a horror game, but it's more atmospheric horror. They don't try to jump scare you. It's just like a creepy, unsettling the whole time you're playing, right? Storyline, fantastic. The visuals I was, they did say it's a PS1 style. So I expected that. When they said it was a puzzle game, I was not expecting what I got, because a lot of times they're like, here are these things to make this summoning ring, and you have to put them in the right spots. And you're like, well, this is obvious. This is a whole other story. You have to read the details of each ring. There's a part where if you don't do things right, you'll kill somebody. I mean, well, that happens a lot, if I'm being honest. I'm trying not to spoil it too much, but you're not in this house alone. They make that very apparent right from the get-go. So you get a walkie-talkie and you're trying to figure out a way out of a room. So it's an escape room style, right? Once you do escape, you have to then free someone else from a room, and they're kind of your support system through the game. Unfortunately, they can't follow you through the game. I won't spoil why. But they are there to help and moral support you through this endeavor. And then you have to go explore and try to figure out these puzzles to unlock the rooms, to unlock more areas. There are secrets within secrets within secrets. And it's from everything from, runic symbols to doing math problems, essentially, to figuring out, the blanks in the story. There's one area where it's like a club, a spade, and a heart, and you have to look at this puzzle, and it's like, well, the heart can't move to a spade unless there's a diamond next to it. And so there's 3 versions of that, more or less, and you have to figure out how to move through the puzzle without messing up with the instructions that you have. And so it was, when I always say a game needs that je ne sais quoi, this had it. And it was so good that by the time I beat it, I got one of 2 endings, and it wasn't the one I was expecting, so I was a little sad about it. But I immediately started it back up. I was like, let's do this again. And because there are so many puzzles, it wasn't, oh, I know how to do this. Quick. No. I'm like, okay. So then I started writing it down. I'm like, puzzle 1. And then there's multiple puzzles within puzzles. And so I'd write puzzle 3. Here are the first answers. After that, it's up to you. Good luck. Like, I wrote that to myself if I wanted to play it again for a 3rd time. But the dialogue is great. They don't add a lot of fluff. I always hate fluff, which is essentially just saying things to say things to bother you. They don't do that. You have the option to talk to the person on the walkie-talkie a few times that aren't story related per se, but you don't have to. Which I liked. I liked the inventory system a lot. It was very well organized. I was told math problems when I came in. I'm like, no math for me. So they are, but they aren't. It's you're not doing like the Pythagorean theorem or any of that, but it felt to that level. It was like, okay, I'm in algebra class again, and these are the equations, and I don't quite remember, so I'm gonna stumble through it a little bit. Oh, but I know how to do this. Okay, great. So that's kind of the feeling that it felt like. They weren't just easy peasy, and they weren't super difficult just to be difficult either. They were a good medium. But it was nice because they're, I'm really good at figuring out visual puzzles, but I do have, we all have our weaknesses, and that was great because then chat could jump in, and Ravage and Blue were having a blast, like trying to figure it out with me. And they're like, oh, did you try this? There was a thing by your feet. Did you try picking that up? Oh, I can pick that up. Thank you for noticing that. Because I am visually impaired. And because it was PS1 style, there were some things that I couldn't quite see at times. And so it was kind of like a group activity, which was a lot of fun. And I had a blast. When I say it's going to be one of my top games for the year, and I'm not joking, it was that good.
Okay.
I can't wait to play it again. It was so much fun.
So they looked at, so the game itself is, you said PS1 graphics, like
yes.
Wow, with like polygons and stuff. That's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, it wasn't Now, there are some times where it would, chat was being funny. They're like, "Why is she standing like that?" I'm like, "Well, she's kind of leaning on a coffee table." But you essentially rescue people throughout these mazes, and if you don't, the person dies, which a little spoily. But you can save everyone essentially, and they all have been poisoned essentially in one way or another. So even when you rescue them, they can help you a little bit, and they can uncover things, but they can't go with you back through the house because they need to sit down and rest, is like the whole shebang of that. So there are a lot of other characters that you do interact with, but it's not for very long because you have to go back to figuring out how to get you all out of this house because this cult has essentially kidnapped you. You're on camera, which is very unsettling. Again, is it scary? No, but it's not creepy. It's very creepy.
What makes it like that you said like what was the thing that made you enjoy it enjoy playing the style of the game? You said it's not really scary, but like what was the funnest part of it that you enjoyed?
It's it's atmospheric. When I tell you the audio quality was really great, I didn't have to mess with it too much, which was lovely. I will say that. But the puzzles and the way that they are integrated, because there's a lot of horror games where they give you puzzles, but they don't give you like a key to go off of, which is fine. But if you don't find that one piece, the puzzle doesn't come together. They're not like that. They are, here is the puzzle. Here is, if you need information to go with it, here it is. You can stop the puzzle at any time to go back through your inventory if you need to read something that you picked up in the room that goes along with the puzzle. There are times where it's very intense and they're like, "We got you. Here's the key so you don't have to stop what you're doing to go look and then maybe forget in the heat of the moment because it is a stressful situation." But not just that, like the storyline was really good. It was juicy. I kept wanting more. I was like, I have to figure this out. There were a couple times where I had to leave rooms. I'm like, I need to give my eyes a break. I'm clearly not seeing what I'm supposed to be doing here. And there were times where like, here's the code, but not so fast. So you need to switch these two numbers. And then you would go to another area of the room and it's like, now you need to switch these two numbers. Now you need to switch these two numbers. And now you need to switch these two numbers. Now put in the code. And then I'd go to put in the code and it's like, beep, wrong. I'm like, how? Stop it. And so I'd go back through.
No, it's actually kind of funny. I was just thinking about it because it's like all the papers and all the notes that you were writing down just reminds me how it was back like old school. The way old school way you had to play, you played games. It's like, oh, you had to write it down because there was no strategy guides. There's no there's no like resources, no internet, nothing. It's like when I played the first Legend of Zelda, that we played that as a family exactly like that. We made a grid and everything because how big Zelda was, but just for math, but these aren't like math problems or anything like that, right? Like what kind of
gave me the feeling of, oh, this is like, I took a couple days off from school and I didn't learn the equation this week. And so I'm trying to catch up a little bit. And that's kind of what it felt like. It was like, I've been given multiple pieces of information, so I could solve this. But if I'm wrong, someone dies. So maybe let's stop, let's regroup, let's go through what we know. Let me write some notes down, because they would try to give you a little bit of information that sort of went with it, but wasn't impertinent to that puzzle, right? So it's like, all right, let me get the fluff out of the way. This is what we know. Number one is probably going to be the whale, which is Monoceros. The next one is probably the unicorn, question mark, because we don't know yet. And these are the dates. And then when you turn the paper over, it's like, so-and-so keeps flipping the month and day wrong. And it's like, well, I have the numbers, but which ones are flipped? So now you kind of have to try multiple ones. So it was really interesting because they're like, here's a zodiac puzzle and it looks scary, but when you get it down to brass tacks, it's not as scary as you think, but you do have to do a trial and error because the blue ink says this, and then the red ink says this, but then there's green and yellow, and how do those pertain, and what does it say on the back of the notes? So that's where it gets a little complicated. And it was, well, so-and-so's flipping them, but are they all flipped, or is it just this one? Or is it this one and this one? Because this person was also writing in yellow later on. So it gets a little confusing at times, but it's very in depth. It's really good.
How long is the game? Have you beaten it?
I beat it.
Yeah,
so
she got one, she said.
I think I went 9 hours, and at that point I had already started the game and beaten the first. Hold on, let me look. First 6 puzzles.
And are there many and are there multiple endings?
Yes.
There are? Okay.
Why are you asking questions that she already provided answers for?
Well,
that's okay.
No, I mean I didn't hear that there was like
I won't say how many.
Clearly
but
you
yes,
didn't.
There are. I did.
She said, "I got one of the endings."
I got one of them,
not the one.
And it wasn't the one I wanted. So I started the game back up, and it felt like I blinked. I mean, obviously, I put a lot of time into it. I sat for 9 hours. My butt was sore, but
you did the game in one sitting, like one whole sitting.
One sitting. I
Holy
couldn't
crap.
stop. That's how good the puzzles were. And a couple times I've gone real late with games. Like Void Bastards did that with me. There's a few, but it hasn't felt like I blinked and it was 5 a.m. again all of a sudden and in a while. And that game did this for me. Like, I couldn't stop. I'm like, okay, just one more puzzle. Okay, one more puzzle, and then we'll end it. Oh, but we're so close, I think, to the ending. Are we? Okay, let's do 2 more puzzles. And that's kind of how it kept going for a couple of hours until I was like, you know what? Let's just beat it. It was really good. It was so good. And they do give you a map, so you do have a key. So unlike PS1 games, you don't really get a lot of, it's like, okay, it's a complicated game, have fun. You're like, great, where's the map? You don't get one. Okay, do I get like an organizational tool? Nope, have fun. You're like, wait, what? So this gives you that, but not too much, just enough to frustrate you at times. And it's funny too, because the map, it'll show where the other people are, and then it'll show rooms that you've been in, and things happen that are not, I guess it is kind of scary. There are things that happen in the game and you're like, I've been transported elsewhere. And then the game goes, have you? Are you sure about that?
So just messing with
kind of
psyche.
psychological.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. And then you're trying to talk to the people on the walkie-talkie and all of a sudden you can't get in touch with them. And it's like, okay, we know that people have been poisoned in the house. Was I given something and I don't realize it? Because other people in the house try to allude to that. And then it makes you wonder, wait, are you behind all of this? And so it really gets you kind of, okay, I want to trust these people, but I don't want to trust these people. You don't get a lot of audio response options in this game. You get a couple. But I liked that because sometimes you're like, God, if I say the wrong thing, like this game's going to go south real fast,
Right.
It wasn't that, which I liked a lot. It gave you what you needed when you needed it. And sometimes not when you realized you needed it. And there was a lot of, oh, I figured this out, and turn around and like something's in your face. You're like, oh, okay. Now the character would freak out. I kind of was expecting it. So again, I'm very desensitized. So to someone else, that could be absolutely terrifying.
I was about to say, so a normal person,
you'd probably scream, and go, but there wasn't like an audio thing that was like, with it, which I liked. But the music did go along with it. And so it was like, somebody was leaving graham cracker teddies on the ground for me, and I'm just following, nom 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 nom, and I couldn't get enough. I could not get enough.
Okay, well, overall, it seems like you definitely enjoyed the game itself, and it seems like you're difficult to try to continue on it. But yeah, that's cool.
Well,
I mean, oh yeah,
tomorrow.
I'm probably just gonna watch. I'm gonna definitely watch you stream it. I don't think it's gonna be a game I'm gonna play. What about you, Smitty? Like,
so I know that Squirt Kitty is into puzzles and things like that, and like I think she likes kind of like that psychological kind of like thriller in a game as well. So I actually think we'll probably pick this up because I think this might be right up her alley, especially the fact that you're saying there like the puzzles aren't easy. I think she likes a little bit of difficulty to the puzzles. Me personally, that infuriates me. I don't like getting stuck on puzzles and not being able to, like, again, for me, when it comes to, and I don't mind a challenge, especially if I'm playing with other people. Like, that's how, like, we played Little Nightmares as a family. We're still going through Little Nightmares too, and like those have puzzles and things like that. But like, I was trying to find something that she would really enjoy herself personally, to where it's not necessarily a family thing. It's something that, like, you know, I could sit back and watch her play. I think would be a lot of fun, and then I could help out, you know, where I need to, but I wouldn't be the primary on it. So this is probably, I think, and Lex said, we talked about it before, but this is not only on Steam, but this is also on consoles as well. I was actually literally in the middle of checking to see what that pricing looked like, but again, it looks like on Steam it's like $20, so hopefully it's not a crazy price.
Try
to hopefully find the game that you're gonna get Scorp Kitty to be interested in, to be like,
I'm trying. I will make her a gamer yet, y'all.
He got her Alan Wake, and he and I discussed this. I was like, I think Alan Wake would be a good one. Now it's puzzle like, but there aren't necessarily puzzles, and it's very different from Little Nightmare puzzles. It is so different, and you can't necessarily progress unless you figure them out, but you can go to other rooms and work on those instead if like this one just gets you somehow, you know? But to get into the third room, maybe you need something from that first room you couldn't get through. So that's kind of where I liked where chat came in, because they were like, wait a minute. Okay, so we're looking at these things on the wall that pertain to this puzzle and this, that, and the other. What if you did this? And then it dawned on me and I saw it in a perfect little square, and I was like, that's the code. And I put it in and it was right. And it was like, here's another code. I'm like, what? Shut up. Dang it.
Not done yet?
And that's why I wrote like, good luck underneath a couple of the puzzles, because there's multiples in it. I think she'll like this one because it's not a lot of, okay, this is your thumbstick to move your visual.
Right.
And this is it's more or less like I can play without my mouse. So I think she'll like this one. I think this is the one for her to start with, and then maybe go back to Alan Wake.
Yeah, you know, by the way, with Alan Wake, it's the free game of the month for PlayStation right now. So the remaster, so definitely pick it up. Absolutely free. So there you go.
Yeah, I think if you're into puzzle games and stuff like that, this definitely seems it sounds like a winner for sure, or something to at least check out if that's your cup of tea. It sounds interesting. It sounds interesting, you know, and especially if Lex is saying, because I know that you very much lean into like puzzle games and the horror genre and stuff like that. That's why I was asking you in particular, because I know that's kind of where I feel Scorp Kitty would land in terms of being a gamer and what she's really going to enjoy and kind of attached to.
Right. That makes sense. All right. Okay, cool. Well, good deal. Well, get the game. Apparently it's definitely thumbs up for Lex. Definitely check that out. And it's available currently now on Steam and all platforms right now. Nintendo Switch, GameCube. What is wrong with me today?
I mean, you know what?
If
you're living in early,
I mean, Jesus. PlayStation and Xbox, the Xbox Series S and X and stuff. So definitely check that out. So now it's my topic. I want to go to Street Fighter 6. We've been a little bit quiet on 6 as of late, but 6 is nothing but being quiet right now, because apparently it hit already a milestone. Street Fighter 6 hit 2 million units sold already for the game, for the system itself. So now 2 million units for any, like, hitting 1 million units in general for a game's lifetime is already impressive as it is, and it's usually technically known as a success. But 2 million units for a fighting game in less than 30 days is unheard
That's
of.
huge.
Yeah, so it's never. This is the best selling, by far, the best selling Street Fighter, like, for the first month for ever.
Nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. So, like, when you really think about it, it was actually kind of funny because when I was looking at the numbers here too, because I was like, we all know that Street Fighter 2 is probably the highest selling Street Fighter of all time, with which it is. I think it hit about 20 million or so. But then again, when you think about it, during that time, Street Fighter 2 itself had how many versions of it? Championship Edition, Super, Hyper, all these different kinds of versions of it that they all bunched up together and accumulated the sales all together as one giant one, which as well, that's probably the best way to do it. But to say, and I don't think Street Fighter 6 is going to hit that number itself, but to say that, like, I mean, like, to kind of compare it to modern day, Street Fighter 5 is Street Fighter 5 sales hit about, I want to say their overall sales been around for 7 years. Street Fighter 5, 7 million units sold. So the track that where 6 is going to be going on track right now seems like it's going to definitely eclipse Street Fighter 5. Thank God, because 5 really, in my personal opinion, was not a good game. So it's definitely, it's definitely going to be like the best selling Street Fighter that we've seen in over the past 20 years. So this is really good news. And if you have not played Street Fighter 5 or 6, you should definitely play it. It is a fun, simple game. There's so many different, there's a little bit of everything that this game can provide for, like, newcomers as well as, veterans and stuff like that to the series. Also, as well, that they also including is that they also officially announced the first DLC character that's coming out, which is going to be Rashid, who was originally from Street Fighter 5, was a parkour fighter. That uses wind powers as well. So this is going to be pretty good. Pretty good. Donk's asking, what about old comers? Yeah, definitely. I mean, dude, like, I'm old school. I'm an OG when it comes to this kind of game. I've been playing it since 2.
We all know who my favorite character is, and they got rid of him for a long time, so I didn't pick any of them up.
Well, Blanca's
he's back.
He's back. He's in this
back
one.
now.
Yeah,
I know. I'm waiting for the game. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
I need a fight stick.
Yeah, it's a very fun. Yeah, so this game's, like, quality overall has been very, very good already, and I think the way that it's setting itself up, especially the people that have created this game, you just know that they loved they loved the Street Fighter lore. I mean, overall, I believe that was one of the best things, in my opinion. So like, congratulations to Capcom on this. Like, Capcom decided to just go ham and just said, you know what, we're just gonna be throwing some bangers out there with with Monster Hunter and freaking Street Fighter, Devil May Cry DLC. Then I guess to try out Exo Primal, which is coming out this week, is the next newest game that's coming out. But yeah, I just wanted to get y'all's take. What do you think about that, Smitty?
Yeah, I mean, and I had a conversation about this because I had talked about it with Lucas, how the entrance or the increase for Evo 2023 is already surpassed excuse me, what they had in 2022 for Evo, and a lot of that, a majority of that is coming from Street Fighter 6. Is always going to be, especially for the fighting game community, when you have a new iteration in such a long-lasting series like Street Fighter. You're going to get that, and it's only going to be 2 months deep by the time the tournament comes out. So I mean, it's going to be crazy there. But the other thing too is that this is a huge year for fighting games. We got Street Fighter 6, we get MK1, and we get Tekken. Is Tekken 8 coming out this year too?
No, it's not coming out.
Is that next year?
Yeah, probably next year.
Okay, but I mean, still, I mean, the horizon is looking bright for fighting games and the fighting game community. And I am familiar. I didn't play Street Fighter V, but I think you made a great point here as well, Davis. Is the fact that even though I haven't really, and I've been playing Street Fighter since Street Fighter 2, but I've never really played competitively. I've never gone in and like, I'm just kind of a button mashing, have a good time. For me, it was more about the campaign, being able to create my own character and be in this world and mess around in this Street Fighter world was really appealing to me. So I could see how that would be something exciting and a way to bring in new people that may not be playing this game competitively per se, but having these other avenues outside of just the 1v1 fighting, I think was huge for them. And then obviously the netcode was an issue in 5. Clearly they have went in strong with this on that netcode, which obviously had to be top priority in terms of this, especially within the competitive scene of this game. It was super important for them to have that dialed in. So, I mean, they're running on all cylinders. I think they did a fantastic job with this. I'm excited to see what new characters that they bring in as the DLCs come about. I've talked about it a little bit, how I'm still kind of weird about that, because I feel like it creates, if you don't get the DLCs, you are then kind of at a disadvantage in that you don't get to play these new characters or these characters as they bring them in. But again, this is something that is typical within the fighting game community and fighting games in general, and kind of how they bring in new characters and you pay for these characters. So it's not out of the norm that's the system that they do. But again, this is, dude, I am enjoying my time in this. I still haven't played any like battles against anybody or anything like that. I've just been enjoying the campaign.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Lex?
Well, I have been planning on picking this up. I haven't had the time. I've been a little busy in my personal life, but Blanca has been one of my favorite characters since I played it in the arcade as a kid, and I got accused of being a button masher. But when I tell you, I memorized how to do all my moves and how to electrocute people, and this was back in AOL dial-up time, so I had to do a lot of digging to get this information so that next time I go to the arcade, I'm on it. But there is a couple other characters that I like too. I like E Honda, and I think I always say his name wrong. Dawlism? Is that how you say his
Awesome.
name? Dawson. Okay. I like him too a lot. I always liked the people that had powers. That always felt more intense for me. And, the other people were more or less just fighters who had really good skill sets. Whereas I felt like Blanca, he electrocuted people. Like he was a mutant in a sense. And that's where I kind of dug it a little more. But, the arcade setting was where I played this, and back then the only game system I had was a Game Boy Color for when we went on road trips. I wasn't technically supposed to play my Game Boy when we were at home, but I did anyways. But I do like that they have changed it. So there is the campaign, you can create your own character and do all that. The creating my own character, I'm like, meh, I don't really need that, but I can see that it's fun for other people. I'm definitely picking this up. Again, I need a fight stick before I do, just because, I have really bad arthritis. But I like where they're going, and I like the characters that they're releasing, because I think, again, and we've talked about this so many times with other games, that uh oh my god, my brain died. Seeing people that remind you of you and your culture is very important. And putting people in the game of different ethnicities and cultures is very important. Diversity, that's the word I was looking for. Diversity is important, and I think they're doing a really good job at not just putting in a bunch of white people who fight in different techniques and styles. They're putting in people with powers, and they come from different cultures, and Blanca just wants to make a better life for his mom because he loves her. Like that, to me, like speaks to me more than the originals, I like that there's more of a description of why they're doing what they're doing and what do they do in their day job, because obviously they're not fighting full time.
I
They'd be
mean,
dead.
Street Fighter has always been very diverse, though.
It's always been super.
It's always
diverse,
been
and
See,
that's
but
like
for
it's
the
never been.
arcade setting, to me, they didn't have like the backgrounds on the characters in the arcade setting.
Well,
I don't know which.
I mean, the background, because like you would even travel to the different countries to fight and stuff. I think it was on a very basic level.
Correct.
And the best that they could with the technology at the time. I think it's great that they've expanded on it, and we are getting more of the actual text.
Yeah, they've always had a synopsis of each of these characters of why they're doing what they're doing, though. I mean, they've always had that. Like the.
But I didn't have the system at home. That was an at-home feature, because like you would play E-Honda, like let's say I'm Blanca and I played E-Honda. I would fly to Japan and I would fight him. There wasn't like a little excerpt about him. You know what I mean?
It was in the manual.
Yeah, I didn't have that at the arcade.
Okay, but if it's in the, I mean, I guess in the certain settings though, in the arcade, you're fighting versus other people. But then at the same time though, like if you play one player in the arcade, it still does progress through their individual story. It's just that you just don't know what it is because there's nothing that's telling you what's going on. But what's going on. But I mean, like,
and that's why I was saying that my experience with it is unique, because I only played it in the arcade setting, and I only got to go to the arcade, once a month maybe. Dad would buy me a bunch of quarters and we'd play, and mostly we played House of the Dead, and then this came out, and that's when I really got into playing Blanca and going home on my AOL dial-up and figuring out how to do all the moves, because I got accused of being a button pusher, and I'm not, dang it, I memorized it. But yeah, and I really enjoyed the game then, and I think I'm going to enjoy it now as an adult, where it's at as far as its dynasty, so to speak, if that makes sense. And I like, I didn't have the manual. I didn't have it on any system, because I had a Game Boy Color, I had a Sega Genesis, and then I had a PS2, and I didn't get to pick my games, and I definitely wasn't getting fighting games because my mom was not into that. But now as an adult, I can pick what games I play, and I can fight, and I'm definitely going to be picking up a fight stick, and I'm going to be picking this one up.
I think that personally, my probate is done. I think that Street Fighter 6 itself has done probably the best for an introduction for a fighting game to introduce fighting to a new person or to new people, because that was one of the biggest problems I've always felt in the FGC, which is a fighting game community, that most people don't like to bring or introduce new things, or to it's not very welcoming. Let's just say that, not very welcoming to new blood in the community itself, and it's because everyone has a certain way to do things. I mean, hence look at even like Smash Brothers when you really think about it, because I mean, Smash Brothers community, you still had to be playing Smash Brothers Melee to get some sort of deal. Some people were not even born when Melee was even created, and yet you still wanted to play it to be competitive inside that kind of situation. Same kind of thing with Street Fighter in a way. I think that there was always a cold look when it comes to introducing new people to a new game, and then there's casual players, and then there's the tier of casual and the tier of professional. But I think that 6 balances it out to a level where I think that it gives enough people that may not want to play professional, professional level on the versus level, but there's so much stuff to do that's outside of just the traditional 1v1 kind of fighter that makes people interested in wanting to experience the world of Street Fighter itself. And I think that 6 does a phenomenal job of introducing that kind of world to people, saying that it's not just fighting. This is a create your character. This is a fight for these the weird storyline or whatever that you can do. There's even a party setting inside there if you didn't even know that. So you can play versus mode, but then there's different kind of stipulations that make things that makes things kind of fun in between. So I think I think what the target that what they did, I don't think this 2 million copies sold was a fluke. I think they did their homework. They did an excellent job on introducing it. The system is fun. It's a fun, fast-paced game system itself until the next patch updates, which I know some people are going to be like, well, these people are broken. but still, yeah, but no, I'm definitely loving it. I'm still experimenting on who I want to play it with. Smitty, we need to play.
I know we need to get some. Well, and something I appreciate, and I'll probably get booed for this, is the fact that they have a modern controller and a classic controls. So classic is how you do the moves and stuff like that, but modern makes it a little easier to do some of those more complex moves. Again, I haven't really dove deep into it or played against other people. I think for me, classic is just what I'm used to. So I would play with classic controls, but I like that they have the options for people, and especially for folks that aren't as competitive as you were saying. Maybe a modern control style would work better for them, just being able to do some of the special moves and stuff like that. But yeah, I need to get on the versus for this, but it's good. It's undeniably good. I can't deny it.
Yeah, that's definitely people still frown upon the classic and modern controls, but at least look at this fact. At least they give you the choice instead of having a system that's going to force you to automatically implement the regular play of the game, like hence Dragon Ball Fighter Z, where they had or Dragon Ball Fighter, sorry, where they had the easy mode to do auto combo merged into in the middle of your gameplay. So if you don't want to do it, you had to go out of your way just to not do that, So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that so I love that they give you the choice for it. So I'll definitely go with that.
Agreed.
All right. Well, Smitty, you are the last up. So why don't you close us off? What are you bringing to the table, dude?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this to the attention of folks. If I don't know if you guys are, obviously we've got Prime Day is coming up, the 2 days, the 11th through the 13th. So there's a tons of deals that are out right now, but one that I've kind of been going back and forth with myself, which I know I shouldn't do it, but we'll see how it plays out. But the Steam Deck currently until the 13th is actually on sale, which I think is amazing. Again, I don't need it, but I kind of want it, especially at the prices that they have it at. But I've been looking at them, and right now the base price for the 64 gigabyte one is $350, essentially like $360, which is $40 off. Again, I don't think that one is. Personally, I don't think it's worth getting because there are some internal differences from that one, from the 64 gig to the next step up, which is the 256 gig, which is the one that I've kind of been eyeballing. That one has an SSD in it. So obviously out the gate, I would go with at least that base. That is the base that I would start out with personally. But I mean, again, for me, and I think really it would be about what is your primary usage going to be out of this? I don't see myself putting a lot of games on the physical console itself. I think I would use the cloud more than anything if I were to get a Steam Deck. But again, this is more of a want than a need for me. So you've got it starting out right now till the 13th. You've got the 64 gigabyte, which is $360. You've got the 256 gigabyte, which is coming at $450 essentially. That's a bit of a jump there, a little under $100. Or you can go and get the 512 gigabyte for $520. Again, that's a lot for a console. If you're planning on it, I could see it if that was like your only thing that you had, going that high and going and getting the 512 gigabyte one. I think for most folks that already have a Steam library built up and whatnot, I think the 256 gig is going to be plenty. Plus you can add an additional SD card to it for additional memory. If you're extra savvy, you could probably go in and change out the SSD card in itself. Excuse me. I've seen people go in and be able to put emulators into it. Like, it is literally a computer, a handheld computer is what a Steam Deck is. So there's a lot of things that you can do with it. But I think it's a great deal. And I'm telling myself that I'm not going to get this, but it's still sitting in my cart. Like, I got till the 13th to make a decision.
You know what? Donk has a good point. He says 256 gigs will get you about half of Call of Duty. The Call of Duty game.
True. But, for me, like, I'm not going to be playing Call of Duty on that. I barely even play Call of Duty as is. So, like, I'm not really worried about that in terms of, the games. But I think that's a great point, though, that Donk is making, because the games aren't getting smaller. They're only getting bigger, right? So it might be worth going in and doing that. But again, I think you could even go mid-grade and then go in, if you're, again, tech savvy enough, go in and make those changes to beef it up on your own. Because really, you're just paying for it to be in there already. I didn't see a lot of differences between the 256 gig one to the 512 gig. That made me say, oh, I see why I definitely need to get the bigger one as opposed to this one, whereas the 64 gig doesn't have an SSD drive. That is enough right there for me to be like, I know that the one that at least has an SSD is going to run smoother and faster. The processor is most likely better in that one. That to me is worth that price jump. Oh, look at Davis' face says no. Davis' face said something else. I don't know. You just made. I don't know. He just made a face, I guess. I thought it was a face of judgment. But yeah,
I mean, you already know what I'm going to say. I mean, personally, because dude, don't get me wrong. I like the Steam. I like the Steam Deck. I really do, but I just can't justify that price. If I was going to drive, if I was going mobile all the time, or if I'm going to move or whatever, then I would be like, okay, that's cool. If you're on the go, fine, that's perfect. But dude, I work from home 90 most of my time. When I do go out and do other things, the last thing I'm wanting to do is like, I wish I had the game system. In your circumstance, when you were at the hospital, perfect time to do it.
I wish I had one. I'll sit there and wish I had one.
Yeah, but it's just like, I just can't say for $450 to have a handheld. Like, I barely touch my Switch. My Switch is a cheap version of that, and I can't even. I don't even use it. I don't even use it that way. Yeah. So, like, if you move around, if you're on the go, if you're flying to places and stuff like that and things like that, this would probably be perfect, but just not for me. I don't know if I don't know if I would even see it for you, Smitty. But no, because I'm not really a handheld player like this. You know what I mean? But like, what I keep going back to is being able to play Destiny without having to sit at my computer and play Destiny. And I love they have cross saves. The only problem that I have with that is the fact that your DLC, if you bought your DLC, like let's say you bought it on PC, it is not transferred over to your PlayStation. Exactly. So I'd have a completely different experience playing Destiny 2 on PlayStation than I would off the things that I have purchased from PC. And that is like my biggest problem with that. But like, my library in terms of Steam games is crazy. And this is where I could see this would be something that like maybe I would get to some of that backlog, being able to play those here on that instead of having to sit here at the PC and do it. Because if I'm sitting here at the PC and do it, I can't help for my fingers to put in Destiny 2 and then all of a sudden I click on it or whatever I'm playing, Stranded Alien Dawn. I'd love to be able to play that on this and not have to sit at the PC and do it. But again, I just don't know. I mean, you get Starfield.
Right. I barely play my Switch, and I have a Switch. But I feel like also too, I kind of have a bit of the reluctance for Switch for me is the fact that the controller drift just pisses me off.
Oh,
it
you have
pisses
controller
me
drift?
off. It makes games complete. Yeah, dude. Like
Same.
I have so many different little controllers. Some of them have controller drift. Some of them don't. So I have to
Yeah.
figure out which ones do and don't. Like I end up getting just like the actual like game
Pro controller.
controllers.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want to deal with the stupid drift. Like I
Yeah.
would be fine, but the drift is so off-putting to me. So I
I
don't
don't-
know in terms of this, like what, you know, is there drift that ends up happening on this? Because that
Looks
would
like
really
it's-
piss me off.
It looks like it's analog. Well, it looks like they focus on the analog controls on the with the system on this one more than they do with the D-pad.
And the,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess
No,
drift would be on the
it's a-
analog.
yeah,
Yeah. So I guess it
joystick.
would, yeah. So never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Lex?
Well, I spent 2 years in and out of hospitals, and I brought my Game Boy Color with me. I didn't think it through at the time. Like, oh, after brain surgery, I'm not going to see very well, even with my glasses on. So I couldn't really see my Game Boy screen, even with like the little lamp that plugs into it. And I would fall asleep within my hands, and then my batteries would die. There were times that I was bored out of my mind and the TV in my room didn't work, and this would have been lovely. And I kind of agree with Smitty on some things. When I'm not feeling good, like yesterday I was not feeling good, but Dreamlight Valley needed me, damn it. Okay? They needed me. And don't spit your coffee out. Oh no. All over the cute baby shirt. Oh, now he's choking. I think playing it in bed would be fun. I have an arm that you can like hook up to stuff so that you can like, you know, use your phone hands free as a camera. And I set it up with the the Switch for Dust when he was playing his new game. And he was like, this is fantastic, because he's laying down playing it essentially, and it's in his face, and he's not risking dropping it on his face. I do that a lot. If I'm playing a phone game, I drop that phone on my face if I'm laying back. So I would love to be able to play Dreamlight Valley in my bed, because again, they need me, damn it.
The question is though, would you be
Would I
willing to
play
spend
any other game? Probably not.
No, I mean more like
Would I
saying, would
be
you
willing to
spend
spend it?
$400? Yeah, $400. So for the times when you feel like I'm going to like I want to play in my bed, are you willing to spend that kind of cash for it? That's the question that you got to ask yourself. If it's yes, then yeah, then go for it. But if not,
I'm disabled, so the answer for me is yes.
Yeah.
The problem is I think Dust and I would be fighting over it. I mean, he already said in the comments, I'm buying one so he can sit on this couch behind me and bother me all day while I'm working in here, which is fine. I love when he comes in here, but I if I have F around and find out money, I'm buying two. One for me, one for him. You know, our Steam libraries are huge. There are so many games that I could play from bed. And I think it sucks because I love group games, but a lot of the times when I have to back out of a group game is because I need to lay down. Well, guess what? Now I can lay down and I can play my group game, you know? So to me, it makes sense. Just because I know that unfortunately I'm not going to get better. There is no cure for what I have. And so for me, it makes sense.
It just probably makes sense. Yeah.
It
just like makes sense for you. Yeah. But like, yeah. But
I think that's a great point though that you make is that the games to me is really what matters. There's not a lot of Switch games that I play. Hence why I don't play my Switch very often.
Right. And
however,
like the new
I know I have it, but I know it's going to take me years. I'm not even like, dude, like that is still like, it's there. I've dabbled a little bit, but I'm not going all in on that game. I've got other games that I got to finish.
Just admit to it. You're not feeling this Zelda as much as you thought you were going to.
I mean,
no, that's not the case. It's not even the case though, dude. There's been so many game releases that I have been feeling that it just is there. It's there. I can't get that deep into it. If I get super deep into that game, the same thing's going to happen as last time, where I end up going hardcore and I put it down for months. Then I forget everything that I had built up, and I'd rather play it more consistently to where, because I felt when I finished Breath of the Wild, I was like, what was the game about? Yeah. I know it was about saving Zelda, but like,
but dude,
I couldn't tell you.
this game is going to be exactly like what you're saying. Well, like, are you going to put Starfield in the same kind of back burner when that comes out? Because Starfield is going to be. Starfield looks like it's going to take some time.
Yeah, and that is true. But I love space, so. I will put the time in. That's my point. I'm just saying that like you're like, I mean, you like Zelda. I know you like Zelda. I do, yeah.
There's no argument there that I know you like it. However, I'm saying that there's things that you like that's more than Zelda, which I'm saying that like Starfield, I feel like it's a game that will also take years for me to beat, because it's just like how it's going to be like how Elder Scrolls were for me, which took me like 2 years to beat because of all the the kleptomania that I was doing with stealing all the different kinds of stuff that you could. But I'm just saying that you're choosing one over the other because your interests are higher. Like Final Fantasy 16, your interest was higher to do that than to play Zelda.
I just figured I could beat that. I'll beat that before I would even come close to beating Zelda. So it's like, why not just knock it out the way? Not only that, but also my Switch is in the living room. Mm-hmm. So I have to essentially play it in the living room. Otherwise, because I have all the different Joy-Con issues and stuff like that, it makes it unenjoyable for me to play a game when I've got a controller or a character that's just randomly moving because my stupid Joy-Cons. It makes me not want to play it off the dock. Okay. I think I would play it more if I didn't have that issue or a better way of playing it off the dock. I think I would. But as it stands right now, I basically have to play it. For me to enjoy it, I have to play it on the dock.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
which is in the middle of everybody's things.
The Joy-Cons are just garbage. I've never been a fan of Joy-Cons. Yes. I've been playing with all of it. Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's why my system is going to be permanently docked for it when it comes to that. That's why I didn't care about the OLED version of the Switch. But Mr. Seven Figures does make a good point though here too. He says also we bought a Steam Deck as a second PC so I can play with Pixie, and it's solid for that. But I hate buying games twice. Wait, you have to buy games twice?
Wait a minute.
Because it's different accounts, different Steam accounts, right?
You can't log in with your Steam account?
Yeah, but you can't play the same game off the same account on two different things.
If you share because if you share your account with someone else, then you can use their library. You use their library to play it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but wouldn't you have to be signed in as that person?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, you can just share your library?
Why would you need to buy it twice? Yeah, that defeats the whole purpose of a Steam Deck.
Yeah, you can share your own library.
Yeah.
Yeah, family share. Yeah, so I don't understand.
You can't play No Man's Sky if someone is using it. Well, yeah, that I
Wait a minute. Okay, so in this situation, you're saying that, okay, so let's say Mr. Seven Figures had No Man's Sky on Mr. Seven Figures Steam Deck account. Let's say NT Man, by the way, these people are people who are live on Twitch. The NT Man has family share with Mr. Seven Figures account, a Steam account, so he has all the games that Mr. Seven Figures has, but NT Man plays No Man's Sky at the same time Mr. Seven Figures is playing. You're saying that those two people can't play. You can't play that same game at the same time.
Yeah,
correct. That is correct, and I know why. So, okay, let's say Dust has one of the FNAF games that I don't have, and he is currently going through the game himself. I can download the game and I can play it if he's not playing it at the same time. So, what your issue is? Okay, so Mr. Seven Figures' issue is he is sharing his library with Pixie, and Pixie's playing on his Steam account. And so, yes, it's two separate people. You would have to buy the game twice or play separately and then only buy it once. Okay. But like, let's say I get two Steam Decks. Dust is logged in on his account. I'm logged in on my account. I have purchased the game. He has purchased the game. We play together. It is fine. Now, if it's his account, he's playing it on his Steam Deck.
You can't do it with a shared account.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. I was like, wait.
I was like, you had the way the way I first read it was like, wait, you like because you have a Steam Deck, you have to buy a separate account.
Says, that's a lot of words for you can't play at the same time. That's what I said.
Oh my god. Okay, but like
Yes.
I guess we didn't make it any easier for you to decide on if you're to get your
No,
Steam
that
Deck
did
or
not make it any easier for me at all. I think so. So where I'm landing is that I think that I would play this more than I play the Switch, strictly because of the access of games in my Steam library that I can access without having to be sitting at my PC.
Look at this guy.
What it comes down to though is, am I going to do that? Do I just sit around in other rooms playing games? Not typically. If I am, then it's probably Marvel Snap, which I can play on my phone anyway. So kind of defeats the purpose of even having that. But would I play Destiny 2 and do more Destiny 2 if I had this? Absolutely. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Look at this guy.
I think not only that, but Mr. Seven Figures makes a great point that the controller support for this as well is pretty strong. Mr.
Like
Seven Figures says,
you could
no. So Mr. Seven Figures says, my Steam Deck is great. It works with my Switch Pro and PS4 and PS5 controller without any setup past Bluetooth.
Oh, nice. You know, it's actually going to be funny.
Pretty nice.
I will say this though, like when I go to Vegas, my friend has a Steam Deck and he has Street Fighter 6 on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to be playing with 2 fight sticks on his Steam Deck, but he also has the dock. So he could dock on to a television. So we'll use that as the machine to get in to play the.
I would definitely get a dock too. That's the other thing. Like I wouldn't just get this. I would also get a dock, which is also on sale. I think it's like off. Like it's only like $10. I think retail it comes out to $80.
Jesus.
Standard $70 or 70 and some change. With the discount that's going on right now.
I love it.
But yeah, that's definitely the route that I would go. I would absolutely have a dock for this too, but this would be strictly for outside of the room that I'm in currently to be able to play the games that I have on my PC.
Look at this guy. He has like 2 PS5s
because I'm a
with Nintendo Switch. Yeah, you are. You are.
I will not deny that. I will not deny
that's a perfect t-shirt idea in my mind right now. Thank you for that, Smitty. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening or watching or listening to either or. Well, you know, I went blank there. Guys, thank you so much for listening to episode number 181 of the CFG Game Cast. Thank you for being a part of the conversation as always. We will be back again next week with some brand new topics. But if you did miss out on this episode, that is perfectly all right. We do release it on all podcast services. We are on Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, all sorts of different podcast services out there. So there is absolutely no reason to miss out on our sexy voices. Oh, I didn't hear you. Lex. It threw me off.
No, I harmonized with him at a lower rate. I went, ooh.
Oh, okay.
I heard it.
I was doing my Smitty impression.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And also be sure to also check out our main website, consfreaksgeeks.com. We will be going to DreamCon in Texas here in the next couple of weeks, as well as going to the Final Fantasy Fan Fest going at the end of the month. So we have some awesome content that's coming here in the future. So, guys, once again, this is Davis, Lex, and Smitty signing out. Y'all, take it easy.
Bye.